So you guys ready for today's episode?
Ready as we'll ever be.
Welcome to the Duality Gamecast, sponsored by Gladiator Games. Today's special blind fighting episode features a study in Emerald.
Welcome to the Duality Gamecast. Today is our first ever blind fighting episode. Under this cloth is a game that we've never played before. Some of us have never even heard of it. We're going to take a stab at it. These are my victims here today, so let's just get to it and show them what we got.
Study in Emerald?
A Study in Emerald. This is a game based on a short story by Neil Gaiman. It is set in a Lovecraftian Sherlock Holmes mashup world of the 19th century.
Sounds appropriate.
Designed by legendary designer Martin Wallace. I'm looking forward to this. You got Cthulhu, you got Sherlock Holmes. Apparently it's a team-based game to some extent, and we're going to dive right in and find out. Get an experience of what we think.
Looks like it's
wait, you think I'm playing this? Huh?
it's only about 2 hours long.
Oh, wow. Hey.
All right. We got our first non-volunteer.
Yeah, right. I'm excited.
Okay, let me tell you why I don't want to play this. First of all, I would like to get to how long it takes to actually play the game, which is about 2 hours. Since this would be the first time we're playing, it would make it about nearly 3, which is just frustrating. Very frustrating. I don't like 2-hour games, 2 to 3 hour games, unless they're role-playing games. And that's basically why I don't want to play A Study of Emerald.
I'm pretty used to these guys playing games without me and having to jump in with no prior knowledge and mechanics or anything on a game. So my secret weapon is none of us know how to play this game, which is going to be awesome. I have no idea what's going on here. I recognize Neil Gaiman because he's kind of awesome, but the rest of this is just, I don't know. Although Matt did say it's a team-based game, and I love team-based games because I'm totally okay with being the healer or the guy that dies first. So hopefully I could be a good team player.
Study in Emerald. It's Cthulhu-themed, Sherlock Holmes-themed. Seems like it should be interesting, but from the back it looks a little bit like maybe a worker placement game, or it looks a little bland, so I'm worried that it's going to be a little boring to play. But I guess we'll have to find out. I hear it's cooperative too, but I'm not so sure that's how it works either. It doesn't really explain it all in the back of the box, so I kind of have my misgivings.
Study in Emerald. I have been wanting to play this game for about 2 years. My acquisition disorder went full bore about 3 months ago when I heard a review of it by the Secret Cabal podcast, and I had to have it. It's not available in the US. You have to import it most of the time, so it wasn't cheap, but it's huge. Cthulhu, Sherlock Holmes, Neil Gaiman, Martin Wallace, legendary game designer. I'm real excited. Don't really know how the game works. I know it has 2 opposing teams. I think there's some hidden role stuff going on, and I think it has deck building elements as well. So it's so far so good for me. I'm really excited about studying it. Dig in. Let's tear this thing up.
All right, ready? So are you gonna have any opening lines before me?
Let's do this. Dude, we're gonna run it fast forward.
Yeah.
The reviews I've read, some people get freaked out by the board. Conceptually, it's kind of a deck building game. There's going to be cards on each city. And
I'm starting to understand where the freak out comes from.
yeah,
Because now
there's a lot going on, right?
you had to say it, and now it's the thing.
Yeah, because I was looking at the back of it, and that's why I said worker placement. Like, from the back of the box, I was thinking, like, you're going to put little things on here and something's going to happen. All right, so when I first looked at it, I was convinced this was going to be some type of crazy worker placement game. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like tons of actions you have to take, options you have to pick, and you realize as you're playing that there's tokens everywhere, there's cards everywhere, there's piles of stuff, everyone has their own deck. It looks like it's chaos, and I guess that's appropriately themed to go along with the whole Cthulhu thing, but it's way more streamlined and simple than I had, at first, my brain was willing to accept. It took me multiple turns before I was willing to see that, oh, I can just take this action and do this move. It was deceptively simple.
Is that one of the actions? Place a blocking deck?
Oh, it's a card action. It's a card action.
Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter. So you guys keep researching it. I'm going to... My first action will be to place 2 influence cubes on my man Vlad here. And my second action will be 4 coins to purchase 2.
So the rulebook's a challenge. You're going to see a lot of surfing in this video of us through the book, through the player aids, and I got on Board Game Geek a couple times. Rulebook's a challenge. Don't let it affect your opinion of the game as a whole.
I was convinced that Will and I were on the same team and stepping on each other's feet. I was absolutely certain of it. And then for some reason, I decided to confirm by taking a peek and using my cards to figure out who he was. And when I found out he was a dirty resistance member, I was stunned because I thought he was one of my guys, and he wasn't, and it totally changed everything for me.
So if you kill any of my dudes. Vampires, zombies, and Yog's Hogmoth. How do you say that name?
Oh, yeah. Yog. A boy Yog there.
Alright, so is there any adjusting any?
There's no adjusting that I'm aware of. Pretty sure that I went mad, but I saved the world.
Oh my god, Cthulhu ate Washington, D.C. Awesome. I don't care what happens the rest of the game. My guy was flying around in an airship watching Cthulhu eat the Washington Monument. Awesome.
I think he did.
Mostly because Matt was a wink link on your team.
I ate Washington, D.C.
Matt, you might have ate my Washington, D.C., but I have more victory points than you.
Well, what this game does differently, which isn't a bad thing, is instead of trying to be the best player and just rack up a bunch of points, it kind of forces you to be a team player by pulling the weak link along and helping them out in any way you can, or hindering the other team. So I didn't think I was playing particularly well, but I was a little surprised at the end. It's like if I had just a little more time to help Matt out or to hurt Will, and not like I wasn't trying hard enough, because didn't work out.
As we all know,
he managed to kill a couple of the old gods, and that gives him
See, Sherlock Holmes, he don't care about Washington, D.C. He's a Brit. Eat all the Washington, D.C. you want.
So the restorationists, the anti-Cthulhu guy, went crazy, and I lost? What the hell? Cthulhu works in strange ways. So, tied, but because I suck, we lose.
Making me the victor. So then we were playing, right? And Matt summons Cthulhu, eats Washington. I have to search through my deck, take the card out. Luckily, it was actually in my hand, and it made me discard it, which lets me draw another card, which was Sherlock Holmes, which was the card I needed to kill an Elder God thing, make Sherlock Holmes, or me actually, go insane, causing the end of the game, and winning by going mad. It was awesome. So, A Study in Emerald, a game by Martin Wallace. Let's wrap it up here with what do you think of the components and the art of the game?
It looked real nice. The board was nice and solid. You know, you got actual wooden pieces that are pretty cool. The cards were all, nothing was flimsy. It was an absolutely solid, well-constructed game.
Yeah, so component quality is really good. Decent card stock, very good counter card stock. Nice board. The artwork is really cool and thematic. I would say maybe a little harder for people to distinguish between different card types. A little muddled, I guess. There's not a clear graphic design thing happening there, but I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the materials were all good. And it had good solid chip for all the chip pieces that we punched out. The art looked good, but everything had this like tan yellow background, so there wasn't a lot of like real distinguishing effects. The fact that like the cities had to be separated from the personalities and everything in the game, but if just at a glance there wasn't a big like visual distinction between them, and the backs were the same because you had to shuffle and play them together. To me is a drawback, but overall, I mean, the quality of the art looks good and the components are nice, so I'm not mad at it. I guess that's fine.
One thing that was neat, I don't remember which one of you pointed it out, but the different agents had different artwork for them. And you don't even notice until you actually get down and look at them. And it's neat to look at them. You're just never going to be looking at somebody else's deck.
Yeah.
So
I get why we have there's color control markers for your color, because I wanted to put one on my starting agent, which you're not supposed to, because across the board, I couldn't tell that was my agent.
Yeah, just a little circle of color on it, yeah. All right, then next up is mechanics. What do you think of the general mechanics of the game?
I really liked it. The way it's kind of a deck building game, but there's a map component to it, and then there's the whole influence component too. So there are a lot of multiple levels to work at. You could choose to play the game one way or focus on one style. That's pretty neat. That's fun when you can kind of choose your battles. You could choose the mechanic that you want to play the game. I always like that.
So I agree. I think the mechanics were really unique, and I think you saw different kind of classic game elements in one place. Deck building, area control, kind of a bidding, really, if you think about it, mechanic. Some take that, too. When Cthulhu eats your city, that's a pretty big take that.
Yep, it certainly is.
Kind of along with mechanics, though, I'm going to say that the rule book was not the best.
No.
We were fiddling around a lot looking for stuff.
There was one or two very specific rules that we just couldn't find.
Which is really weird, because the rule book is white background, nice text, clean. It contrasts with the rest of the game's artwork completely. And we couldn't find anything.
Yeah, we kept passing around the rulebook looking through it. None of us could find the blocker tokens, right?
I managed to find it eventually.
And I think we looked at Assassination about 12 times.
Yes, yeah. Same thing for me. I like the mechanics a lot in it. It gave you a little taste of everything. There was some bidding / worker placement aspects going on. The deck building, it sounds like anytime any reviews deck builder, it's not a typical deck building type element. You aren't the you aren't generating an engine to get resources to buy better cards. Your cards are basically giving you the specific actions you want to take to affect the rest of the board. So it was, I don't know, it was really unique. I really liked it, but I don't know how to define it, how to explain it in just a couple sentences on.
Well, a lot of deck building games are very resource reliant, and this one is not.
No.
This one is more action reliant. It starts a little resource reliant, but then it quickly goes away from that. I think there was a point when we stopped getting into influence battles with each other, and then it stopped being resource reliant. But it easily could have been had things gotten real with that. We had that one moment right in the beginning.
Yes.
We were playing the game wrong, but whatever. And we were both bidding on a city and really wanted it. Yeah. And that's when resources really mattered. And then after that, it just kind of stopped.
Right. And
probably
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I felt like most of the time the influence resource and the money resource were not a problem for me. Most of the time. I wanted more actions. So I was getting the free action cards. I felt like that's essentially a resource too, and that was the one that was more of a scarcity factor. It seemed like.
For me, what snuck up on all of us was the in-game mechanic.
Ooh,
because there's 4 different ways basically the game can end, and all of them seem like if you actively work towards them, you could finish them relatively quick. So, but you have to end the game on top at the same time, and your team has to end up on top. So it's almost more of you're trying to decide when to pull that trigger to try to end the game. And I got lucky and pulled the trigger at the right time, but it was by mistake. But hey, it worked out.
Right. So you could drive up the faction counter, right? Loyalists or restorationists, and just really push the game speed up. Counter to that is everyone knows what you're up to then.
Yeah.
And you're going to get thumped, I think, in some way or another. So it's a cool balance.
It's a good way, though, maybe with that you can maybe have like a subtle team enhancement. You know, if maybe you think in a bigger player game, you can say, well, I'm going to let everybody know I'm a loyalist, and I'm going to go for it. And then hopefully the other loyalists will, in subtle ways, maybe help me out or know I can maybe see by who messes up with who after that. Maybe I can figure stuff out. But yeah, to me, that was what was interesting to me was the fact that we were basically playing and we felt like we were getting into the meat of it, and then all of a sudden the game ended. Yeah, and it all of us were like, what? Oh, okay, it's done. And then we counted points out, and I was victorious. But that, once again, just luck. All right, after this, how about general, we kind of floated this a little bit, how about fun and replayability for you?
I want another go at it, because now that I have a little firmer understanding of how point structure works, I've got a vague idea as to how I want to play the next one. So I definitely want another go at it. So I'd say replayability is pretty good. There's a lot of different ways to play it.
I had a lot of fun. I lost. This is a theme with me now. I lose games and still enjoy them. I lost, but Cthulhu ate Washington, D.C., which is awesome.
Ate my Washington, D.C., even.
My head agent was flying around the world in a dirigible. And I controlled the Freemasons. I mean, that was awesome. Replayability, well, I only played one side, so there's replayability playing the other side. We didn't see about, at least half of the cards that were available. And there are zombies and vampires, and we never even got to those.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing tons of replayability. I'm on the page with Dre. I want to play again.
Yeah, definitely fun, definitely replayable. I feel like every time you play this for the first dozen times, the game's going to be different. I mean, just changing the quantity of people can make a big difference, because we played with 3, and with a 3-player game, it's possible for everybody to be on the same side, in which case just the best player wins. It isn't like a team thing. So it's kind of like if you're all on the same side, you're all on different sides. Whereas in bigger player games, you know there's going to be definitely teams. So then you just have to start worrying about, because it has a mechanic in it that if your team, when the game ends, the team with the person who's the worst is the loser, not necessarily the person with the best.
Yeah.
So you have to, before you pull that trigger at the end, you have to know who's on your team and try to help them out. And I think that alone adds a lot of fun like replayability of the game because there's messing with the people who are low and trying to figure out which one's on your team type of a thing.
That's like the trick that makes you want to care what side people are on.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't anticipating that at the beginning. I thought a team game was going to be more like I'm traditionally used to, where I could develop a role and kind of help out, and this was not like that in any way, shape, or form.
Which
is not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, it's definitely not a bad thing.
And that's kind of, I think, the thing to take on this whole game. Mechanics, just its overall play value, it's not like anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, this isn't going to replace any game in your collection, and no game in your collection will replace this game. As right now.
So there's a game, you've played it, I don't know if you've played it, that tried to do this. City of Remnants by Plaid Hat Games. It's a sci-fi, had area control, it had deck building, it had unique player power type stuff, and it didn't work.
No.
I mean, it was boring and not good. They did it with this one, and I guess that's why Martin Wallace gets the props he gets.
All right, so then to wrap this up, let's go with our rating. What's your rating for this?
I'm going to rate it love it. I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy it. I think you went through a great deal of trouble to do so, though, and that's respectable. But I would definitely play it whenever somebody else was. I'd definitely try to get in on a team.
Yeah, so obviously I bought it, so it's a must-buy. Go buy it. It's published in the UK. It doesn't have a US distributor. I purchased mine from Fun Again Games because they bought some and shipped them over. But it cost a lot of money. I know they're also sold on eBay for even more money. If you have the $90 and you want a good game, I would buy it. So it must buy for me.
It's 11 for me. Because there's one in our game group, yeah, I don't think I need to buy another one. But for me, the $90 price tag, I don't know if it's worth $90 for me.
For more information on the Duality Gamecast or our sponsor, visit us on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for tuning in.
So sleepy. So sleepy. So sleepy. So sleepy. So sleepy. So sleepy.